Hi, hello everybody. How are you? My name is Fanny and I am part of the group, the node Siberia. So I'm recording this video for the Egypt group, right? And I'm gonna post it also on my Facebook to kind of share everything, all the work we're doing together, because I've been following Matthias's post. So yeah, so it's in between the two groups. So some of you from my Facebook, you don't know actually what I'm talking about. I'm gonna explain. And for you guys in the WhatsApp group for Egypt, well, you don't know me or what I do at all, so I'm gonna explain as well. And hopefully it creates a bridge between all of us and expand also what we're doing in the trip with our friends and family also who are not here, and maybe generate interest to follow, right, and connect with the energies. Because okay, so we're going to this trip in Egypt next week with Matthias De Stefano that you must have seen on Gaia in the show Initiation, and with the Arsayian Fundation. So it's a giant trip. There is a lot of people coming from all around the world, and when it's not gonna be like a touristic trip, we're gonna discover the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx and everything, but we're also going to activate some points, and we're all given a task with some nodes, okay, as three groups of three to represent the Trinity, right? So the Trinity can be so much stuff in many cultures actually. I invite you to go to my We Are One library. There is a full article about that. The Trinity can be the mind, body, spirit, the earth, earth, water, and skies, the three levels of life, right? The spirit animals like the underground, the snake, the puma, and the eagle. In Peru, for example, we have the chakra. The chakra cross has these three levels to represent the three levels. So the snake for the underworld, the puma for the ground, the earth, and the eagle for the eye, right? The eye that sees everything. And that came for me to make this video today because I was posting yesterday this video about the eagles. I was in the forest the other day and I look up and there's all the eagles, like 10 eagles, or I don't know if they were eagles or hawks, flying over, you know. And I was like, my thought when I was watching it, I was like, what are they seeing? What are they hearing? What's, you know, what do they do? What do they see? And how to have this greater picture, right? The spirit of the animal of the eagle is having this ability to have these greater pictures of all the things. And this is kind of what I do with my Dottism. So I'm a mandala artist. I'm actually painting right now for the trip. So this is the painting. Okay, I didn't want to show because I'm finishing it and I want it to be a surprise, but it's not finished yet. I'm going to finish tonight. But you have an overview and I'm going to modify some stuff as well. So you see this is a Metatron's cube. It's a Metatron's cube that I started. I'm going to change that. I'm going to put back the flower of life here, and hopefully during the trip I have the opportunity to talk a little bit about the painting at some point and all the symbolism that's in there. There is all of our groups. There's all of our groups, the earth, the water, the fire and the air, the logo of the Arsayian Foundation, and the key of life, the Ankh, right? I'm gonna put back the flower of life here because I was like, okay, we're doing this activation of the nodes for the earth, right? For all the sacred places. It's not simply for the earth, but it's also the sacred places, the human creation, what we as humans have brought over the generation and the aeons to ground this light energy on earth. So I was like, oh, I'm going to put the earth, and then I was like, I'm going to put back the flower of life because of the petal representing us, the people, right? And because it's the human, what us as human we're able to bring to restore the earth, but also to make it evolve with our consciousness. So this is gonna change, but it's okay because there will still be the energy of the earth right under it, because the earth is what our planet is what supports us and provides the fertile soil for us. And then you have different skies, so it's like a clock, right? It's like a time machine with a clock with different skies, morning sky, afternoon sky, morning, afternoon, sunset, night skies, and then I put some pyramids, of course, and crystals energy. Yes, so I'm painting this at the same time, and see, it's all dots. It's all tiny dots to represent kind of us. Every time I see the dots, I'm like, it's like us as humans. You know, we're all a tiny dot, but yet we all form the greater picture of everything together. We all, and then in the microcosm, there is all these little atoms and particles that makes, you know, the entirety of the universe. So there's a lot to explain. But as I was posting about these eagles, then this morning I read the program for the preparation, and I saw that we were starting with the higher chakra, the crown chakra. So it's really going from the sky, the universe, the light energies to descend and ground it on the earth. So what we can bring as humans in our temples and our constructions, all of that. And I was like, that's crazy, because yesterday, I didn't have time to read. I sat down this morning, I was like, without even knowing what it was, I posted these eagles, which represents the higher chakra and the skies. And it's like this all the time, how we are connected. And then I read Siberia. My node is Siberia. So Siberia is a province from Russia. It's funny because I've always felt connected to Russia. Like maybe I was Russian in another life. I've always wanted to learn Russian for some reason. And I remember doing like a presentation when I was at the university about the indigenous languages and how in Inuit, so Inuit, I don't think is it Siberia? It's one of these colder countries, right? The Inuits had 50 different ways to say snow in their language, which for us, snow is snow. I don't know where you are from, but in your language, there's probably one way to say snow or ice. Ice, snow, maybe the stuff that fall, like the icicle thing that fall down. But that's it. But because the nature, the earth, the environment is different in their country, their language is impacted as well. So this is how the language can evolve from cultures, from their environment, or from their mentality. Or for example, I think, okay, I don't speak Japanese, but I think I've heard sometime that in Japanese, there is no way to say no. It's just variations of yes, because it's rude in their culture to say no. They don't want to, they're very conscious about others. They don't want to hurt the feelings. So there's variations of way to say yes. Oh, yes, maybe if, you know, that, or yes, maybe, you know, like you're going to a job interview and they'll be like, yeah, maybe when you get more training, or yes, maybe when we have a room available, or things like that. And so if you don't know about these cultures, it can be, you know, hard to adapt or really understand, while in some other cultures, you know, people will tell you like a straight no, and you can be like, oh my God, this is so rude, you know. And I'm saying this because at the same time that I'm reading this about the snow, so what is the symbolism of the snow? The cold, right? Cold, when you say someone is warm and welcoming, it's fire, you know, the creative fire, the love is heat and fire, contact, all of that. But when you say snow, the subliminal, subconscious idea connected to it is cold. And at that time that I'm reading this, I'm inviting one of my best friends to follow a training. I'm here trying to tell my friends about my mentor, right? And the trainings, like I love him so much. And we have this like super cold conversation. She's like, oh, but I don't care about marketing. Karine, if you're watching, and I'm sharing it, like we talked about it after and now we're good. But it's just like, oh, I don't care about marketing, I'm not interested. And I was like, I wasn't really like interested in marketing before as well, because my thing is more the art. But then I learned that I need to learn marketing. I need to learn to promote my stuff if I want to help other people, because stuff that are obvious to me is not necessarily obvious for everybody. Or when someone explains something, for example, when Matthias does the show on initiation, so maybe you're watching and when he's speaking, you're like, oh my God, yes, that makes so much sense, you know, because he's so connected to his truth that when he explains it, it's obvious, it makes sense, but it's not necessarily that you knew it before, but it resonates with your truth that's integrated already in your cells, in the Akashic records, in the general giant library, right? So because he's so in tune to that and explains it, it resonates with you, and so it seems obvious, and you're like, of course, yes. Like sometimes I'm painting and he's talking, I'm like, yes, completely, you know, that makes so much sense. And so yes, I tell, and that triggered me, my friend, that she told me that, because I was like, why aren't you interested in my stuff? Like, she's like, oh, I'm not interested. I'm like, but, and so I'm like, but you know what? I don't come to my friends for, you know, you telling me that you don't care. Like, ask me questions. And she's like, yeah, but, then I realized, I'm like, but it's because she doesn't know. She doesn't have the information, the background, you know, the emotional part of it as well. So, and that's why then, and so that made me think of snow, you know, and like everything. And then Matthias posted something that triggered me as well this morning. And so all this connected at the same time. I was like, okay, I need to make a video and kind of like follow, right, the journey, because we're all evolving. Transformation is every day. We evolve from this. Because it's all related to that. He was talking about the attachment, right? The attachment. And this is one thing that always triggers me, because even I made a video last year about that, how, you know, in the spiritual communities, they say, you know, oh, self-love, you have to love yourself, or be independent, you know, or don't stop counting on others, or non-attachment. And for me, that triggers me, because if you have like a lot of friends around you, or a big family, you know, you've never had this feeling of abandonment. So it's not something that triggers you. A lot of people that are very independent and don't have a lot of attachment because they grew up in these close family, or they have a lot of people around them, so they don't feel that lack, right? And lots of people are super independent and don't have attachment. But for me, and we all at different level, right? And this is why I wanted to kind of bring it up, so bringing a discussion around it, so we can all see where we are on this journey and acknowledging our own patterns, but also evolve together. So what is attachment for me? I've always been like very independent. I traveled all around the world by myself, and I was super good. I was like feeling so independent and free, and I loved it. But after a while that I was traveling to these places, and I remember watching this sunset in Thailand, I went and traveled there with one of my best friends, and then like he wanted to go fishing all the time. I wanted to just sit at the beach, you know, so I finished the trip by myself, but we're still super good friends. But I remember being watching that sunset, and I was like, man, this is so beautiful, and I'm so happy, and I'm so grateful I'm here. And I was like, man, I wish I had someone to share it with. And from that, I started, after years of like packing my suitcases and being on the move all the time, I started being like, man, I wish, you know, I was actually attached to someone. And then when I came here to Jacksonville and all this crazy stuff like happened, I'm gonna tell you one of them, and that I would try to tell my family and my friends, and they wouldn't really believe me, and then I felt like really rejected and alone, which is my own triggers. Lots of my friends were super open and super welcoming, and I met an amazing community, mostly online, of people super evolved and understanding, and that we're living the same thing. So through that online, we'll be able to hold on to each other. But in my everyday here, like physically, I became like very lonely, you know. And then I remember this time when I was like super independent, and I was like, but now for me, attachment is a gift. It's a gift for me to be attached to someone, to have people to hold on to meet new people and like feel the love and be like, oh my God, like, you know, we're family. And so yeah, I'm saying that because then I was like, no, the attachment, it's my gift. And it's always like how you see it. I don't think there is one truth. It depends on where you are on your journey and if you're okay with it or not. At that point of my life, I'm trying to be independent, but not detached. I'm excited to actually care about other people. And being independent, to not need or have to have people to help you, but that you want, that is by choice, that you choose your tribe. And so yeah, so this is so beautiful. And then all these bridges, right? All these bridges, this is what also the meta transcript symbolizes, all the bridges between all the poles. There's like these different poles. It's like the different skies, but it's also the different fields, because, you know, in Egypt, in these societies, they were all about, they had the different temples, so for the initiations, and they were for architectures, for spirituality, for literature, the arts, all this stuff. I'm not a specialist, but I know the interrelation between all the disciplines and the bridges is super important, because you find that everything, like my conversation this morning, I was like, why did I have this idea of the snow? And then this conversation with my friend, and I was like, okay, there is something here, a nod, right? There is something here to transmute, to liberate. And I wrote this entire paragraph. Then I started listening to another podcast about an audiobook about the master key of something. What is it? Let me see if I have it. I don't want the video to stop. And yes, and it was talking exactly about that, how we're constantly transmuting, and it's all layers and layers and layers. So, yes, so Siberia, yes, I'm going to make more research about the history of Siberia. I know the indigenous groups and languages have a deep history, right, of when there was this industrialization. Well, the territory wars, right? When they wanted to expand, and of course the natives have been the one who kind of were jeopardized in that, because they didn't have the weapons, right, to actually defend themselves, and so they had to give away all of their land for that. But there was also the voluntary thing, that they saw the progress, they saw the lack of resources, more and more humans. Okay, I was reading Tony Robbins' book, Life Force, where he's saying, and even Matthias in Initiation talks about it, years ago, our life was just to reproduce. For 30 years, our job was done, and then new generation. Now our life expands, so it's a lot more humans on Earth. So we need a lot more resources. So these indigenous tribes there's less animals now, more humans, less animals. And so by themselves, they wanted to go live in the cities. And in Peru, at least, I'm more specialist of South America, but I think I remember in Siberia, things like that, the cold, they would leave. I actually saw a documentary about that. They would leave the cold, right? And to go to the cities, to go to the progress, to the point that sometimes they would deny their own family, their own language. And so what does it do? For their family, they were proud. They're like, oh yeah, my son, my children, they're going to study. They're going to study to the university. They're going to be the pride of the family. It's amazing. It's a chance for them to go to the big city. But the result of that is that the language, the culture over the generation, 1-2 generation, disappears. So it's so important to the Quechua, Aymara, Siberia, what is it? Is it Inuit or another language? I'll make my research. I'll try to post another video in the weekend before I get to Egypt. So maybe if every one of us, we can post some pictures about our nodes, so we know kind of some information, kind of gets into the energy. I don't know if you like it. But yes, it's so to value this diversity. And so I think it's amazing that we're all going to be from all around the world and like holding hands together, like doing this Trinity and activations. I already feel how we're all connected already, all the poles like activating. Like the other day, you know, it's crazy because I tattooed these oh, I can show you. I'm on my PJs. I tattooed this little alien, right? I tattooed this little alien here on my ankle. And as we're approaching to the trip, the energies are getting so strong. I saw it manifested in the sky. It's crazy. Like I was driving and there was, I kid you not, like I'm driving and there was this giant alien face, like in like 3 seconds, you know, there's like this white cloud that shows up and it starts forming this giant alien face, but perfect face, looking at me like this, with like the eyes and the mouth and smiling at me like this, like kind of like having a conversation, you know. It's considered related to something I was doing. I was like kind of remote viewing something at the same time, and it's crazy because I was driving super fast and I had all the trucks, everything around me, but it's like I was in a tunnel. It's like I was in a space-time tunnel, because like that was crazy. I'm driving, there's like all these trucks, and it's like going super fast, and I'm watching this face looking at me like this, and it's like the entire size of the entire sky, right? But just fits right in my windshield, so I can see it, and it gets closer to me like this, and it gets like literally like a perfect face, like I can see everything of it. It's not a cloud anymore, it's like a giant face. Like I'm using this movie Smiley Face, when she sees like this smiley face in the sky, like hey Jane. I'm driving, but I wasn't feeling in danger. I was feeling protected. I was just like, okay, they're coming for a message, I need to get this message. But at the same time, because my thought was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have an accident, because I'm looking straight at the sky. I'm on a highway, there is like trucks and cars all around me, in front of me, behind me. For some reason it's super crowded, but it's like lanes. It's like lanes driving like that. But I was feeling like I can't have an accident right now, I'm protected. It's like the car is driving itself. That was just super insane. All the cars were like going super straight, and I was driving and I'm looking, and the face like gets closer to me, and it's like I get inside, and then I'm like, wah! I start screaming. Not that I wasn't scared, but I was just like, this is too much. Like the energy, I was just like this, like screaming, and then I see it for like 10 seconds. And then in just a few seconds, it vanishes, like it vanishes back into clouds. I was just like this for like 15 minutes. I was like, sorry. No, that was insane. So everything, yes, is manifesting. And you see, after that, all these activations, like the crown chakra, the view. And so now tomorrow, I guess, the expression expression. So it's perfect. We're working on that, because by expression is the catharsis, right? So through the art or your whatever your passions are, when you express your art, your ideas, even your conflicts, you know, sometimes I'm a lot into, I have lots of triggers as well, and I'm in reaction, but as soon as we like we respond to each other, but this is how we merge the energy and dissolve the triggers. Your triggers, I'm gonna help you dissolve your triggers, and you help me without even being conscious of it, or maybe we are conscious of it, but sometimes not. Sometimes it naturally happens. You help me dissolve my triggers, and we all help each other like this with the nods. And I'm excited to know who is in the group Siberia, because there's always there's no coincidence. You know, when you're a group, when you go follow a training or a class or group, whatever, the people that fall with you, it's never a coincidence. So we have something to bring to each other, or I don't know, soul encounter, soul family, something like that. I don't know, I'm excited. So I just wanted to come and say hi for today. Yes, we have training also with Dean this afternoon. There's still time to join if you want to watch my previous posts. And for the Egypt trip, you can follow us, saying this for my Facebook friends, that you guys are welcome to come also on my page. You can join us for the Egypt trip on internet in the Ether group. If you go to yosoy2022.org, I think, or com.org, you're gonna be able to see the trip. But I'm sure that even now, and even if you don't know about anything about the trip, you're experiencing it anyways, living the same thing, because we all connect like that. So it's really magical. I'm so excited to see you guys. And yes, all right, bye guys, have a good day, see you soon.